The discussion today will be on how do you then build resilience for your business. COVID-19 has ravaged all of us, either personally, individually, in our families. Our businesses have been affected in more than one way. And I don't think anyone, when we crossed over January 2021, did anyone anticipate 2020 will be the way it was? But I know at about this time in March, when the announcement was made that now lockdowns and restrictions are happening, it was strange for all of us. For some of us, it was difficult staying at home for long periods of time because we were used to going out every single time. In fact, some psychologists reported higher incidences of either abuse at home, people affected by mental issues and such kind. It was unprecedented. So today we'll simply just focus our discussion on the business aspect of things. So we'll talk about 4 key things. Number 1, I will talk about your value proposition as a business. Number 2, I will talk about your customers. Number 3, I will talk about competition. And lastly, I will talk about innovation. And I will just get right on it because of time. And so what I want to ask you is, what value or what defines you? What defines you as a business? Most times we define, what I have heard from all of us today is what we do or the products that we offer. And the challenge I want us to have is a different mindset moving forward. Because we have to clearly define our value proposition. And once we have clearly defined that value proposition, we have to be able to have a relentless focus on what we are providing to our customers. So number 1, I want to give you a brief story about the ice business. In the 1800s, in the US, there were people who used to harvest ice from frozen lakes. And the main reason was they wanted to be able to keep their fresh produce still fresh, their meats and their food during the hot season. So there were people whose primary business was during winter, the lakes would be frozen, the rivers would be frozen. So what these guys used to do is go with big hacksaws and they would harvest ice to sell. About 30 years later, somebody clever figured that, you know what? I can actually manufacture ice centrally. So the innovation at that point was a factory that manufactures ice in a central location. And the value here was, in season and out of season, you would get freshly made ice delivered by horse or carriage to your doorstep. About 30 or 40 years after that innovation, there was this other new breed of business people who said, you know what? We can actually give you that factory, a miniature factory in your house. And the refrigerator was born. And this was an interesting thing through those 3 key phases. The business people who used to harvest ice did not make it through the manufacturing of ice. They died off. They could not compete because, 1, they took forever to harvest. They took forever to deliver. And they could only do it during the winter season. And they invested a lot of money to try and keep the ice frozen for the summer season. Interestingly as well, the people who created the factories to manufacture ice didn't make it through the refrigeration age. They died. But what was the unique thing about those 3 guys? Is they defined themselves by the service that they were providing. So the guys who are harvesting ice call themselves the ice harvesters. The ones who are manufacturing ice said, we are the manufacturers of ice. And lastly, those who presented the fridge had a different mindset. But all those 3 guys, what exactly were they, what solution were they providing? I'm asking us. Don't be, there's no wrong answer. Yes, madam.
I would say they were providing solutions for longevity or food security.
Exactly. Cold storage. Wasn't that the solution? But why did these guys not make it to the next age? Was simply because they defined themselves by what they do. Because you know what? If you define yourself by your product and services, if there is a better thing that will come, you will run out of business. But if you focus on the solution that you're providing, you will be constantly be knowing when the market is shifting. Because one thing is clear, human needs hardly change, but the means of achieving or delivering that service always changes with time. For instance, look at our mobile phones. They have made communication so much easier and convenient. But does it mean 100 years ago human beings didn't have the need to communicate? They still had it. And 100 years from now, human beings will still need to communicate. And probably somebody more clever will come up with a new innovation. So what is important for us that I want us to remind us today is that focus on the solution that you are solving. Because then in and out of season, you will always have something to offer, regardless of the times. That is the first thing I wanted to talk about, your value proposition. The second thing about your value proposition is how quickly then you need to adapt. Because once you then focus on your value proposition or the problem that you're solving, then be quick to adapt. And I want to give you two case studies. My apologies, I had a presentation and we've had technical trouble trying for you guys to just appreciate what I'm talking about using your eyes. Because in training, what you hear doesn't last long compared to what you see. So what you see or what you enjoy with your eyes actually tends to last longer in your memory than what you hear. So there are two companies I want to give you an example. First of all is Samsung. You guys know Samsung? What do you know it for? What do you know it for? Phones. What else? TVs. Electronics in general. But do you know the history of Samsung? I heard today there were vegetable guys who deal in vegetables among us. Sindio? Horticulture, agribusiness. Samsung started as a vegetable seller. That was what they were when they began. But who are they today? We only know them for the electronics, but Samsung are in insurance, Samsung are in shipbuilding, Samsung are in chemicals. It is a huge company. The amount of money Samsung makes our GDP as Kenya a huge, huge shadow. The second company coming closer home is Safarico, and I've seen they have sent representatives today. They started out as a very small outfit, providing telecommunication services. Hived off for Kenya Telecom. Kenya Telecom and something communication. Kenya Post and Telecommunication Corporation, KPTC. And their biggest money maker right now is M-Pesa. Isn't it? And the big question that people are grappling right now is Safaricom a telecoms or is it a financial institution? You've had the debate going around at the moment. But that tells you that there's somebody seated somewhere within the company, throughout the history of the company, that they are constantly trying to look for the next opportunity and give value. One of the key things that, and I always admire, is their mission is to transform lives. They tell you Twaweza and such kind of things. Because they are seeing themselves as enablers to make your life more comfortable. So any solution that they can come up with, they will do it. And the next thing you know is they will be able to provide that solution to you. So the second thing about value proposition is adaptation. My last point on value is how do you then position yourself as a business, which is extremely important. How you position is as important as what you're offering to your clients. Because how you position yourself, then people will get to see you or find you much more easily. When you see big companies like Safarico and Coca-Cola, why do they keep on advertising today? They make billions. But why do they still advertise? Why do they still keep sending you those annoying texts at 2 a.m. in the morning? It's because they know as long as they're at the forefront of your mind, the next thing you think about that product, it is them you will go to. Si mmesikia mtu akienda kwa supermarket anaitisha omo ya Aerial. Si mmesikia hiyo? How then do you position your brand? If you cannot clearly define your value proposition, then it becomes difficult for you to position yourself. Because what are you going to sell? What are you going to tell them? Sometime last year, I had an engagement with a person in PR, and they asked me, so what's your story? Because people remember stories, people forget details and facts. So you need them to develop a story for your business because people identify with it. And that is why you see marketers always trying to find a very emotional feel to sending out their message. Like Coca-Cola, why is it that they always have a Christmas ad? How many people here look forward to Christmas because of Coca-Cola advertisements? Isn't it? When you look at their advertisement, it's always accompanied with food. Does Coca-Cola sell food? But why is it that the adverts always have that kind of setting? Because they want to appeal to you. So I want you guys to remove your phones. Let me give you that authority right now. I want you to Google your company name. Remove your phone and Google your company name. What results are you finding? I need a volunteer to show me their screen. What does it tell you? Nice. Somebody else? No. Sorry. Now, let me give you two examples. My friend here Googled DLBA and they got some company, what is it called? It's some bank. Yeah, bank. Some bank somewhere in the universe. My brother here from Rich Cloud, when they Googled their company name, the entire first page is all about their company. There's something called search engine optimization. Write that down. SEO. Search engine optimization. It is one of those very simple tools you can use. Whoever is developing your website, tell them you want it to be optimized for searches. And there are algorithms that they put in the back end that, because Google is all about data and analytics, then your search will always be the first one. I want you to just Google our company name, Kratis Advisory Ltd. Kratis. Kratis Advisory Ltd. Because you want to position yourself so that anyone, when they think about onion agribusiness, the onion doctor should be the first thing they see. When you have your SEO in place, then anyone who searches anything related to your industry, it is you they will see. And that is one of those key things you need to put so that then you place yourself well. The second thing I want to talk about strategic placement is take advantage of social media. For so long we think social media is just for fun and posting selfies and where we visited. But the people who have harnessed the power of social media for business have reaped a lot of money. There are those guys nowadays, there's a new career called content creators. These are simply guys who have figured a creative way of displaying content. It can be as meaningless as showcasing your day-to-day life of your 2-year-old child. and you get 1 million subscribers, and YouTube pays you just for showing content. People want to advertise with you. That way, more people are spending time on their gadgets than on face-to-face. That means your marketing strategy should be relevant to the current age. If we think about traditional in the magazine in Kiambu County or in the newspaper, how many people buy newspapers nowadays? It's probably your generation that is buying a newspaper every single day. The people nowadays prefer Twitter because they will get information and news real time, as and when it happens. And because of social media and mobile phones, everyone is a reporter. Because when they see something happening, where is the first place it goes to? It's online. So how are you harnessing that space for your business? Because then it enhances your value proposition. The second thing was on customers. That was my point number 2. We have more savvy customers now than before. They are more demanding, they are more knowledgeable. You can't come and tell them a BS story because they can fact check you, they can go and Google and research. And even it's so interesting nowadays, even when you go to a doctor, your Google is next to you. So when the doctor tells you something, the first thing unaenda wapi, you confirm if what he's saying is the truth. So then how we treat our customers should be different. So the first aspect of our customers is we need to stop looking at them as traditional customers, whereby you are the only source of information to them. Now start looking at your customers as a network, as partners in you growing your business and you solving their solution. So that it ceases being a one-way street, but it is a two-way street. Because you bring value to them and they're also bringing value to you. And then that way you start having very meaningful engagements. Because this is the reality with customers. Once they see value with you, they will stick with you. So what is this one key strategy I want us to approach with our customers? I need you to look at the long game. I need you to look at the relationships you're building with your clients, rather than I am making money with you now and I forget who you are. Because when you start seeing long-term value with our relationships, then we are actually sustaining our businesses long beyond we exist. Because we will constantly, our clients will see value that you are bringing to them. And they will stick with you even when times were tough. One of the things that made us thrive during a pandemic was the relationships we had built with our clients. Because even when times were hard, it was us they were calling. So, Sane, this is what my problem is. How do we solve it? I'm in the service industry. I don't sell a good. And most of what happens is when times are hard, clients stop spending money on services. True or false? They see you as non-essential, which is true. Majority of what we do is non-essential. But people who provide goods and services, tangible things that a client can see, somebody is more likely to deal with you because they're probably seeing. You remember how when COVID happened and there was a pandemic, what was the first thing Elisha kwa supermarket? Tissue. Today I still wonder why. Is it that people would have been using it more for other things? But goods always survive through tough times. But services, people will always ask, no, I don't have the money for that. No, things are tight, funny, even if they have your money, they'll say, you know what, I have salaries to pay. So it is important then for us to build relationships, because when things are tough, these guys will stick with you through thick and thin. Because one thing they have seen mali umewatoa to where they are now, they cannot even see how far you have come with them, and they want to stick with you. How many of us here go to the market? Have you noticed one thing in the market? When you ukienda sokoni, do you buy from any person in the market? Why? Where you shop, they know you by name. Si ni kweli? Where you shop, they will even tell you, today, hizi nyanya ziko fresh. Can you still take them? Ama ungoje kesho. Don't they tell us that sometimes? Even one of them here in Ghana market was asking my wife, so how are the kids? They even remember. These guys, they are the mama mboga, small businesses, but they have realized the value of relationships. And every single time you want, it is them you go to. Even if you can't go, you have their number. You can call them, they will pack it for you. And you can be guaranteed of the quality and quantity. Or even they can send a border to drop it wherever you are. So relationships are key. And they can be able to, they can sustain your business even when things are tough. Lastly, the last point about customers is this. We live in an age of convenience. So if you cannot offer your customers convenience, you can kiss them goodbye. And COVID has shown us there is nothing that can't be delivered at home or to your office. Sinikweli. Everyone scrambled to try and find, we also deliver. Even the local hotel, they can deliver it for you. And one thing to realize is this. Customers are willing to pay for convenience. Now, I know Safarico is here, but are they the most affordable network in the market? So we always complain about their data bundles and the way they disappear in an overnight. So unapatanga ile messages 500 MB remaining. 2 seconds later, 75 MB remaining. Safaricom guys, I have nothing against you. I come in peace. But why are we still there with them? Because literally they have made, inaitwa wallet share. Wamekufunga. They have provided you with so much convenience that you feel ukitoka you are missing out on life. How much can you do for your clientele that they value you that much? That you're offering them convenience, that it doesn't matter what time it is, they can always access that service to you. And it is a challenge for us because COVID-19 has taught us, you know what? Somebody doesn't have to come to your office, to your shop, to trade with you. So find your customers where they are. Avail your solution to them where they are. Tell them, no, you don't need to come. And then price your product or solution accordingly so that you can still be able to give them that convenience. And as long as you give value to your clients, I have seen people are willing to pay for it. People are willing to pay as long as they can see value. And for you as a business customer, this is your challenge. You remove the discussion from cost and price to this discussion about value. So that then you are selling the benefits to your clients. And then for them, the price they will pay for it is no big deal. Because they're already seeing what it is for them. Because once you start haggling with your client about price, you have lost it as a seller, as a business owner. It's a very difficult battle to win. Either you take the cut or you let go of the business, which is a very tough call. But how you place yourself will define a lot of what we are talking about today. That was my second point on customers. My third point is on competition. We are living in very interesting times because sometimes whom you think is your competitor is actually not. They can be a very valuable partner. My wife shared with me a story some time ago, very interesting. My mom-in-law is a business lady based in Thika. And she told me one time she was somewhere she could not be able to go and get the product from the supplier here in Nairobi. But interestingly, just down the road, Pakona to Hapo, there is another guy who does the same exact business as my mother-in-law. And he told her, no, don't worry, I'm going to Nairobi to pick the stuff. How many do you want? I'll pick it for you. You can sort me out later. My mother-in-law could not even access the bank to get cash to me. Akasema, no, don't worry. I'll pick them for you. You can even sort me out. No pressure. We are living in days whereby some of whom you think are your competitors could be your key collaborators. I'll give you a case in point. Who here has an Apple phone? iPhone? Anyone with an iPhone? Yes. Do you know the iPhone screen was made by Samsung? Meskia you. And to the rest of the world, they are competitors. So can you find out partners within your industry that you can actually collaborate to do business together? It has worked for me in my industry. And we have collaborated even with partners out there. We offer the exact same services. And it has been mutually beneficial to us that on some engagements that we collaborate to be able to deliver value to the client. To me as a person, it may not be, you will not get all the money from the deal, right? But what you have done is you're even building linkages within your ecosystem. So guys, instead of start looking at your guys as competitors, the guy in the next shop as mnapigana vita, they may be the person that you need to get together and collaborate and do business. One of the most expensive car manufacturers in the world is called Zonda. There is this make of a car called a Pagani Zonda. The company is called Pagani. They make super fast cars. I wish the screens were up, I would have shown you the image of that car. The strangest thing I learned just a few weeks ago with my sons, we love watching these kinds of documentaries, was that this car manufacturer, whose selling price is about $1 million US, they get their engines from Mercedes. I was shocked. Mercedes provides equally competitive supercars. Mercedes has prided themselves with excellence and class. But I have seen these big firms have known something, a secret, that Sisi, instead of collaborating, we are fighting each other. So what happens is, I feel that my win has to be his loss, which doesn't have to be the case. My win can be your win as well. So we have to find common ground, and that will change the dynamics of how we run our business. So that our customers start seeing, you know what, it doesn't matter who I go to, I will still get value. And one of these ways when we collaborate, we can actually start establishing standards in how we do business. The last thing I want to talk about competition is probably the person you think is your competitor is not your competitor. I'll give you a case in point. The hotel business. The Hiltons, the Serenas, people see them as they are competing against each other for customers. But technology has overturned that game, and things like Airbnb has come and Booking.com. It has even revolutionized people who are in the tours and travel agents. We no longer need them. All you need is an app, and you can book yourself a holiday in Mombasa, book your ticket. And when you land in Mombasa, you can get to Uber and get a taxi to where you need to go. So platforms has revolutionized markets and industries. So for you guys in your business, how can you then take advantage of the platforms that are there? Right now, I don't need to know a Chinese manufacturer to be able to go and buy a gadget that can enhance the Wi-Fi in my house. I don't need to. I just need to go to AliExpress, search for the product, it tells me in 1 month it will land. Platforms has changed the market. Jumia in Kenya, same thing. People are selling their stuff on Jumia. And Jumia doesn't even want to bother with holding the warehouse. No. You sell, if they buy and they pay, we will tell you deliver to Sane in this address. And people get paid. Technology has revolutionized our businesses. So it is for us to figure out what is there that we can take advantage of. Because if we don't do that, then things will become crazy. That was my third point. My fourth point is on innovation. we have to be willing to challenge the norms of our industry if we are to be innovative and survive in the new norm. Because if we still want to do business the way we used to do last year or 5 years ago, then we may lose out as a business. You remember the icebreakers? If we don't evolve and innovate and move with the times, then we may be irrelevant in the next 5 to 10 years. That is why it is important for you to identify the solution and the problem that you identify. Because probably that solution will always constantly be there for life. So if you don't evolve, somebody else will outshine you so that you can be able to innovate. Number 2 about innovation is, number 1 is always challenge norms. The second thing is experiment. Don't be afraid to try something new, even if you fail. Some of these big companies that we know of are always iterating. They're always quick to adapt. When one thing doesn't work, forget about it. Change. Try something else. And always seek to jump to the new curve of technology. In 2019, we had car trouble. We hit a stone. I had gone, my hometown is Loitoko, on the foot of Mount Kilimanjaro. So we had gone visiting one in June of 2019. So it was dusty, we could not see how the road is bad. And we hit a stone. We didn't realize how bad the damage was, but oils actually started leaking in the car. And we were to come back to Nairobi the following day. And ni Mungu tu, because by the time we go to the nearest petrol station, we only had less than 1 liter of oil in the engine. The guy was like, if you just delayed any longer, this engine would have knocked. And that would have been a very expensive venture. So tukafanya ukarabati, kachomelewa, we came back to Nairobi. But the problem was they never got it 100%. So it was always leaking for a very long time. I came here to my garage guy, they don't know where to find it. I go online and I find it's expensive or they can't, it was just ridiculous. So for a whole year, tulikuwa tu ni tunabambanya. Anytime there is an issue, I always constantly had to have, a liter of oil kwa boot. So that ikishuka chini unafanya nini? Una top up. One day I got frustrated and tired. At about 8 p.m., 10 a.m., 10 p.m., I went to Facebook and I said, you know what? I have this problem. I took a photo of the sump guard and I posted it to this group. I searched, nikatafuta, mechanics and something in Kenya or Nairobi. I did that at 10 p.m. usiku. By 8 a.m. the following morning, I had already had 2 contacts who said, I have what you're looking for. So for 1 year, I was trusting my garage guy to give me guidance. But overnight, a stranger whom I don't know. So I called both of them, and one of them was more willing to deliver at the same time. I called my garage guy, are you Kojob Leo? Yes, Niko Job. I am coming. Please create time for me. I told that guy, come to Ngara, because that's what my garage guy is. You come to Ngara, my garage guy will confirm that that part is legit. Once it fits, I will pay you your money. The guy came from wherever he came, I don't know him. He delivered, tukamaliza na hiyo story, na hatujaiona mpaka leo. Take advantage of the technologies that we have today. Ukizuba, utapitwa. There are guys who right now are comfortably sitting at home, but they are actively on Instagram and YouTube and Facebook selling their wares, and they are making money. Kenyans are very entrepreneurial. I have seen that there is even a group on Facebook for Airbnb providers. They have simply said, we will not wait to use the platform. We will create our own group and we will post what we are offering. So anyone who, you can just go and look for that group on Facebook and say, you know what, I am looking for a 2-bedroom Airbnb in Kilifi. 20, 30 people will give you their offers to Konahizi at this price. Technology has literally just made our businesses tougher because there is no more hiding our prices. Technology is forcing us to declare publicly, we are offering you this at this price. So what are you doing to take advantage of technology? Because COVID has taught us the people who are already on these platforms, it didn't matter what happened. Even when there was quarantine, they were doing business. I met two people who were in the Airbnb business, one based in Eldoret and another one in Mombasa. They told me 2020 was a very thriving year for them. In fact, they were expanding. They were expanding when many people were cutting back. So guys, there is opportunity. If we don't know much about them, can we learn and find out how we can use it? And as far as innovation is concerned, when something that you have tried does not work, throw it away, rethink it, try it again. If it is still a big problem, look for somebody who has succeeded in doing that, and then you can be able to try it. My closing remarks. As a business, there are three things I just want to share as we close. Number one, for you to survive in a crisis, cash is king. For you to run your business, you know your liquidity is very important. So negotiate with your suppliers on favorable terms. Negotiate with your customers on favorable payment terms so that they don't have to stay long with your money and you're struggling with liquidity just to do business. Thirdly, negotiate with your lenders. If you had borrowed, we have so many financial institutions here. Talk to them, negotiate. COVID-19 forced everyone to rethink how business is done. There was no time a bank could tell you, come, I do what? I restructure your loan. Never heard of. But 2020 it happened. For circles, so many of them I know, they did the same thing. So find ways of negotiating favorable terms. Also find very favorable terms for you to sell your product. If it's a long-term engagement, because for people like us who are in the service industry, when you're doing a long-term engagement, then how we schedule our payments will determine how liquid we get. Because for big contracts, they will pay you as per milestones. But can you negotiate probably on periodic payments? That is favorable for you as the business person and your client. So take advantage. Always try. I always say, try negotiating with your client. Then ishindikane, rather than not trying at all. And then you're struggling with cash flow issues to the extent you can't even deliver the service and product to your client. Then that becomes a problem. The second thing is manage your costs. Some of the companies that survive, I have a client who was very thrift in managing their cash flows last year, their expenses, to an extent that the revenue they did in 2019 was the same revenue that they did in 2020. But because they managed their expenses, they were actually able to report a higher profit margin than the year before. And this should not just be done during a crisis. We need to be cautious as business owners, as businessmen, on how our money is going. And lastly, as business owners, as business leaders, learn, grow yourself, read something new, get a mentor, look up to somebody, see what they are doing, learn from them. Because even I, as I stand here, I don't know everything. One of the things I always strive is to learn something new so that I can add value to my clients. Because they look up to me for solutions in their businesses. So in whatever thing that you do, and you don't have to restrict your knowledge to your field of expertise or to your business area. Learn about other things. Because you simply just expand your knowledge base. Because who knows, you can be sitting down with a politician. But because you're not interested in politics, you don't have anything to speak with them. But if you're knowledgeable in areas of politics, you can pick their mind, have a conversation about things that they love. And who knows, they may be knowing somebody who will give you the business that you need to last you for the next 1 or 2 years. Always find every opportunity as an opportunity for a contact, and that contact is an opportunity for new business for you. So learn in diverse fields, even in areas that you're not knowledgeable about. And you will start seeing your business growing. As a parting shot, COVID-19 taught us, and now this is not business, is that family is not just important, family is everything. Because COVID made us to literally just like, it was like like ile mtoto kama hasikii unamgonganga wapi? Si ni kisogo, kichwa, asikie. That was like just reminding us, you know what? It's not all about making money. Because, I mean, whom are we making this money for anyway? Is it for ourselves? It is important to take a break from chasing after money and cherish the people around you that you love. Because at the end of the day, they are the ones who matter the most. Not the monies that you make, or the business deals. And COVID forced all of us to just take a pause and spend quality time with family. In 2018, I had a project that was taking me out of town for a very long period of time in a month. And I didn't realize the impact that had on my family until when one time that the engagement ended abruptly. And I had to be home for some time. At that time, our baby girl was just about 1 year old. And I realized when she was getting to know herself, I wasn't there. I was busy, I was out of the house. And those few weeks I spent with her, I didn't realize how important it was even for myself as a father until those moments were spent with her. And that I can credit the bond I have with her today. She is 3.5 years now. And anytime I get home, she's waiting for me at the door, shouting, "Daddy, daddy, daddy." And I realize sometimes we just need to place the important things first. Your God, your family, then whatever it is else that you're doing. And that is what I will encourage all of us to just prioritize our lives and do what matters and create time for the things that matter most to us. And you will start seeing you are actually leading a very wholesome and healthy lifestyle, not just for us, but for our families. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you very much for this opportunity. I don't know how long I've taken to speak, but I just felt I need to share these 4 key things for all of us and to wish you guys a prosperous 2021. And that regardless of what challenge you are going through, it is doable. And the power of your business is in your hands. So sit back, rethink your strategies for this year, your value proposition, redefine yourself, look at your customers afresh, constantly seek to innovate, and then identify partners that can push your business to the next level. So with those many of your remarks, thank you very much for this opportunity, and I hand over the mic.
Wow.